In this video, we're going to make stock charts using the 30-week moving average. We're also going to use the 30-week moving average in these tables for the sectors and rank them against each other, as well as the indexes. And then we're going to take the ETFs that short these indexes and do the same thing. We're also going to make a dashboard that has these 30-week moving average stock charts. We're going to reference the ticker and make a chart for it. We're going to reference the sector and make a chart for that using the 30-week moving average. We will have volume that's separated out by buyers and sellers for the last 30 weeks based on this chart here, or this ticker that we're looking at. We have relative strength for the ticker versus the sector that we're looking at. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we do, I just want to say that all the principles are from this book right here, The Secrets of Profiting in Bull and Bear Markets. This is technical analysis for investors, swing traders, and momentum traders. This will not work for day trading, but if you're a long-term investor, it will work. If you're a swing trader or a momentum trader, it can work for you. A subscriber asked me to make this. This is a very small channel. I just started it. I don't have very many subscribers or very many views, so I'm going to take his request and go ahead and make this. We're also going to do the 30-week chart on a 30-week time frame with data labels, and that'll be it for this video. That'll take long enough. I will do all the other tabs and everything you see here. I will make videos on and show you how to do, but for this video, that's all we're going to get into. The first thing we're going to need is a data tab. So just create a brand new Google Sheet, spreadsheet, and a data tab. In column A here, you're going to need a list of ticker symbols. I'll leave a link in the description to a spreadsheet that has the ticker symbols, not to this spreadsheet. I want you to watch this video and learn how to make this. So just follow me step by step. I put most of this together so it won't take as long. In cell B1, you're going to need a ticker. We're going to use Google for this tutorial. Just go ahead and type in Google. In cell C1 here, you're going to need to put in this formula, and that will bring back everything you see in columns C, D, E, F, G, and H. So just type in equals sort, open parentheses, Google Finance, open parentheses. We're going to reference cell B1, comma. In quotations, we want all, comma, today, open parentheses, close parentheses, minus 2035, which is 5 years and 30 weeks of data. And 5 years is the longest chart we'll make. Comma, today, open parentheses, close parentheses, comma, in quotations weekly, because we're using a weekly time frame, close parentheses, comma, 1, comma, 0, close parentheses. We want this in descending order. So our most recent week first, going backwards. Just copy all the header rows the way I have them, and then in cell I1 here would be relative volume. So in cell I2, we just want to take the volume. We want to take equals H2, which is our most recent volume, and then divide it by the average of the preceding 10 weeks of volume. So H3 to H12. So it's equal H2 divided by average, open parentheses, and then just drag down H3 to H2, close parentheses. And you can see Google's volume is 1.01. If their volume was more than their previous 10 weeks, it will be greater than 1. If it was less than the average of the last 10 weeks, it'd be less than 1. So that's how we're getting our relative volume. For the 30-week moving average, you're just going to go into cell J2 and you're just going to do the equals sum. You're going to type in equals sum, open parentheses, G2, drag that down to G31, close parentheses, and divide it by 30 because we want a 30-week moving average. And we can see that Google is slightly below its 30-week moving average. It's 163.59. Its 30-week moving average is 164.63. If you get more decimals, just back them out so that you only have 2 decimal places. You would click this right here, this one for decreasing decimals and this one for increasing. We're going to get our buyers and sellers. This is going to be our volume separated out by buyers and sellers. And if you have a number in the buyers column, you shouldn't have a number in the sellers column all the way down. They should be opposite. But wherever you have a number in one, you shouldn't have a number in the other for each row. So the formula here will be in K. K2 will be equals if error, open parentheses, if, open parentheses, G2 is greater than G3, comma, we want H2, comma, or we want nothing, which would be 2 quotes, and then close parentheses, and that's what you'll get. And you'll just drag that you want the same formula in cell L2, but you just want it to be less than instead of greater than. And once you get that, the next thing we'll get is the one week return percentage. And the way you'll do that is you're just going to take the closing price minus this week's closing price minus the previous week's closing price and divide it by the previous week's closing price. So it's equals open parentheses, G2 minus G3, close parentheses, divided by G3, and that gives you the 1 week return for Google, and that was 3.89%. Now, if you just highlight these 4 cells, you can drag them down to 263. That'll give us our 5 years of data that we need. For this video, we won't need 5 years of data, but if we make all the charts moving forward, we will eventually need the 5 years of data. So we just want to be proactive instead of reactive and get all that stuff there. The next thing we'll need is a ticker, the sector ticker in cell P1. Just go ahead and put in whatever. We're going to use the SPY, which tracks the S&P 500 for this video. And then you're just going to type in the same formula that you typed in cell C1, except for you're going to reference P1. And this may come back, these dates. I have them listed as dates right now, but they'll probably come back for you like this, as date and time. And that's what you just want to go up to format, number, and change it from date and time to date, because you don't want the time, you just want the date. That'll give you everything when you type in that formula in Q. You'll do the same thing for the other dates too for the ticker. If they back with time, you want to make sure it just has the date. That will give you everything from cell Q all the way over to V all the way down. And then we'll just do some calculations in W, X, and Y. So this is going to be the same. I'm not going to walk you through it. You're just going to do the same thing for the 30-week moving average using the SPY. You do the same thing you did for the ticker as well. You'll do the same thing here. If you just want to copy the formula, you can. I'll highlight it here and highlight it here. And then for the relative strength, you're just going to take the 1 week return for the stock, and you're going to subtract out the 1 week return percentage for the sector we're looking at. And you can see Google outperformed the S&P 500 by 2.78% last week. The week before that, it outperformed by 0.33%. The week before that, it underperformed by 3.49%. So this gives us our relative strength versus the market. And we're just going to chart this, the relative strength versus the market, for a 30-week time period. That gives us all our data in our data tab. If you do just want to take these 2 over and drag these, or excuse me, these 3, and drag these 3 down to 263 as well. Now we need to go to our dashboard and pull some of this data over to our dashboard so that we can chart it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is just go ahead and cell W3 where you want to hit equals, and we're going to go back to our data tab, and we're going to grab our ticker equals. And you'll just grab the ticker that's in cell B2 here. And then you'll do the same thing. You'll grab the ticker that's in cell P1. It's in B1 for the ticker, and for the sector, it's in P1. You're going to go back to your dashboard, and you want to hit equals. And you want to go back to your data tab and grab what's in cell P1 for your sector here, and cell AE3. And then over here, we're going to need to pull in some data, right? So we need to get some data for our 30-week moving average for the stock ticker, and then we also need it for the sector ticker, and we also need it for, we're going to need volume, and then we're also going to need relative strength, which I haven't pulled over yet, but I will. I'm going to pause the video and pull that over, and then I will show you how to. Okay, so now we want to grab the 30-week 263 down to 263 for the 30-week moving average. So we want to grab Google's data from our data tab. So just go into cell W4, and you're just going to type in equals, open curly brackets, and then you're going to go back to your data tab. Let me do this in a different cell. So equals, open curly brackets, and you're going to go back to your data tab. You need the date, the close, and the 30-week moving average. So you would go to your data tab and you grab the date, start pulling it down just a couple, and then back out one, and type 263 because that's how far you want it to go down. Then type comma, and then you need the close. So you're going to start dragging that down. Same thing, back out one, and then put in down to 263, and then comma. You need I put a period. You need comma, the 30-week moving average, and we're going to drag that down to 263. And then you're going to close your curly brackets and hit enter. Now, I'm not going to do that because that'll overwrite what I have in my tab. But when you do that, that will bring back this data right here. Now you have data, and you'll do the same thing for, you'll grab the date, and then you'll hit comma, and you want these all in order, because we're gonna chart the 30-week moving average here. We're gonna chart the volume here. We're gonna chart the 30-week moving average for the sector here, and then we're gonna chart the relative strength here. So you're gonna want the date, the close, and the 30-week moving average the way we just did it. Then you'll do the same thing for the date, the buyers, and the sellers, and then you'll do the same thing for the date, the close, and the 30-week moving average of the SPY. And then you'll also do this for the date and the relative strength. So your dates are all going to line up, and then we'll chart. You're going to make 4 separate charts. You'll have a chart for Google, you'll have a chart for your volume, you'll have a chart for the sector, and then you'll have a chart for relative strength. Once we have all that data in there, just go ahead and equals W3, which is going to be Google, and then you're just going to type in equals X5, which will give you Google's price. You're going to type in 30-week moving average. So this is going to be cell A1, this is going to be cell D1. I merged A to C, we merged A1 to C1, we merged those cells. D1 to E1, we merged those cells. F1 to H1, those cells are merged. Type in 30-week moving average. And then cell I1, you're going to hit equals Y5. That will give you the 30-week moving average for Google. And then cells K1 to M1, you're going to merge those cells, and you're just going to hit equals AE3, which is the SPY, because that's what we're referencing right now. Equals AF5 for the price of SPY. You're going to merge these 3 cells together, and it's going to be 30-week moving average. You're just going to type that in there. And then I got the wrong thing in there. We want the 30-week moving average. So we can go to SPY and grab the 30-week moving average. So you just want the most recent one. For each one of those I just said, you want the most recent one. So that should be 534. And let's make sure we have 568 for the, yes. And then it should be 163.59, 164. So 163.59 and 164.63 for the 30-week moving average. Now you have a header, so you know what you're looking at. You know this chart's for Google. This chart is for the S&P 500. Our volume will sit here, and our relative strength will sit here. You'll take everything from A2 over to T39, and you'll merge all those cells. And the way you do that the same way you did these. I'll just grab 2 cells here. You would grab all these cells, and then you would just click this merge button. And you can see these 2 cells right here just merge where my cursor is. I'm just going to hit undo, and that's how you would merge all of those together. Now I've already made the chart for Google, the 30-week moving average chart. So we'll make the S&P 500 chart. It's the same process. So I figured I'd just make one. You're going to see the chart here. Now we'll go ahead and make the S&P 500. For Google, you would just grab everything down to 34. You want the 3 headers here and everything down to 34. So all of our charts are going to be the 3 headers and everything down to 34. That gives us 30 weeks of data. And that's how we made that chart. But now we're going to grab the S&P 500 data, and we're going to make a chart for that. So we're going to grab these 3 headers, drag it down to 34. So once you have all this highlighted, you'll just go up here to insert, and you'll insert a chart. This comes in as a line chart. You can click on this right here. You can just change this to whatever you want it to be. I change it to 30-week moving average. And you could leave it like this. You can see that the S&P 500. So this is the price of the S&P 500. This blue line, and this red line is the 30-week moving average. We don't have anything here. I want to know that this is the close and that this is the 30-week. So I'll just click on this, and we'll change this to close. And we'll make it bold. You can make it bigger, so we'll make it 20. And we're going to make all our text white, because we're eventually going to make our chart black. So make our text white here. Now we want to click on this one, and we want to change this to 30-week, because our red line here is going to be the 30-week. And we want the text color to be white. So you don't see it right now. And then you're just going to click on these numbers here. You're going to make them bold, make them white. You might want to make them, well, we'll say around 20 for now. Bold, 20. Change the text color to white, and then the date we'll also do bold, change the text color to white, and our font size to 20. And that gives us all the things we need here. We want to go back to chart style here, or excuse me, setup. Right now we're on a line chart. You can leave it as a line chart. I do it as an area chart. I think it looks better. We're going to make this an area chart. Let me move my head here. We're going to go to customize. We want this to be a black background. So just go to background, change that to black. We'll just move this chart over into here. Make it a little bigger so you can see it better. And we'll eventually make this fit just the way that one is, but for now we'll leave it like this. And you can see my 30 week is not the right size, so we need to change that, make it bigger. And our text color is white, that's what we want. And we want to make this bold. So anything you click on, it will show right up. Now we want to change our colors. So I want it to be green. You can make it whatever color you want, but I want this to be green. So maybe here, I want the red to be more prevalent. That's our 30 week moving average so that I can see it better. And then I also want I want to click on the price. Right now on the 30 week moving average, you can see it says 30 week here for series. If we just click on this will go back to our close price. We want it to be on our close price, and we want a trend line for our close price. And we're gonna go down, we're gonna make that dark blue, and we're gonna make it 4 points. And we want it to be 100% capacity so we can really see it. So change that to 100% capacity. We make it dark blue, and once you click on your trend line, and that should do it. Your line thickness, 4 points. Oh, what did I do there? Click on our trend line. I clicked off the trend line there for a second. Sorry about that. All right, so that gives us everything we need. So we have a trend line. Click off this. Now we just size this, and we can pull it up to here, and we just make it even with this one, and pull it across. And our green is a little hard to see. I have this. Let me make this a little bigger, and you might be able to see it better. All right, so now you can see that the S&P 500 is in an uptrend, and it's above its 30 week moving average. So we just charted the S&P 500, and this is so you have a chart of Google and a chart of the S&P 500. So now let's make a chart with our volume. So this chart's going to be a little different. We're just going to grab everything here right in the center here that we pulled in and grab that down to 34 as well. We're going to hit insert chart. We want this to be a column chart, so this is going to come in different than we want it. So we're just going to click on the chart itself, and we'll go up to setup, and right now it's a stacked area chart, and we want to change that to column. And you can see we get blue and red. So blue is the buyers and red is the sellers. You can leave it like this if that's what you choose. That's up to you. We do have the dates for this did come in the wrong order. You can see the most previous date is the most recent date is on the far left here, and the date the furthest back is on the far right. We want to change that, so we click these, and we just where it says reverse access order, you just want to change that to reverse access order. So now it's going in the proper direction. We'll make this same thing. You can change all the colors. I already showed you how to do that. We want to change that to log scale. And now that you have that in, and you can just make this, you can call this volume instead of buyers and sellers, so you know it's your volume chart. And you can format it however you want, colors, whatever color you want it to be. And same thing, if you want your blue bars here, so you're gonna have different. We want to click on our. Hold on one second here. All right, we want to click on our blue ones. You can see we're under buyers. Okay, so if we want a different color, we want buyers to be green. We would make that fill color, maybe like that. And when our cells are already red, so we'll just leave those alone. And then we would put a background of black in here and change all these colors to white if we want the charts to look like the ones up here. I'll go ahead and pause the video, and I'll make the chart look the way I have it, and then you can make the colors however you want. It's up to you. And then we'll do the relative strength, and then we'll do the relative strength, and then that'll be it for this part of the chart. And then I'll make the 30-week chart, and you'll be all done. One other thing you can do here is you can click on your columns here and you can do a line color around them. So since you have a dark chart, you might want to put a white line around them, and then you just make something color. And we did that for the red ones. We'll have to do it also for the green ones. And then I did it one cell. So you'll want to make sure you're on buyers, and then you'll click line color, and you can make it whatever color you want. You can click right, and then you'll also click on sellers, and you'll do a line color, and you want to make that white as well. So that way they'll give you white lines around here and just make them stand out a little better. So let's go ahead and do the relative strength next. We're going to make a chart for that, and that'll be it for this dashboard. So the only thing you'll need for the relative strength are the date, and we'll drag that down. We want the two headers, the date and the relative strength. We want to drag that down to 34, and we'll go up. We'll insert a chart. And this is what your chart, you could leave it just like this if you want. You can change, I changed this to just a regular line chart because that's all we need. We do want data labels on this, so just click on that there. Go back one here. You can see here we have data labels. Just click on data labels, and you can change your color of the data labels. If we go down, you're going to want those to be white. So your text color you're going to want to be white. Let's make our line green. So we'll click on the line. We want our line color to be, or not green, yellow. And we'll make all of this white as well. And then we'll change the font size after, but we'll just make it white for now. So click on each one of those and make them white. And we can always change things afterwards. Click on the date, make that white. And we'll go up to chart style, and we just want our background to be black. And then this gives us our relative strength. Now you don't ever see that data, so that's over there because you're just using that chart this, you're not really looking at it. And these charts aren't centered in here perfect. It's just to give you an idea. Now you can see, we want to make this so that you can see it better. So let's click on the data labels. Oh. So you want it to sit where it says data labels, you want those to be bold so you can see them. And you can make them whatever color you want. What color do I have them in? I have them yellow. So I have the line as blue and yellow. So let's do that. Let's make them yellow. Text color yellow, and make the line, we'll make this line here blue. Line color will make blue. Then you can see it a little better. So that gives you the relative strength. So you can see that, remember we said that Google outperformed S&P 500 by 2.78%. Well, we see that we have 2.78% here of outperformance. So that gives us our outperformance for Google. We have relative strength against the market. This is our zero line right here. So anytime we're above it, we're outperforming, and anytime we're below it, we're underperforming versus the market or whatever sector or index you choose to compare the performance of the stock versus. So this is what your chart is going to look like. You have your 30-week moving average for the ticker, the S&P 500. You have your volume, buyers and sellers, and you have the relative strength. And you can change these labels. This should just say like relative strength, not relative strength versus the date. So you just click on it and you can type in relative strength. And then we get the relative strength. I think I spelled that right, yeah. And if we go to our data tab for now, if we were to change this to a different ticker, let's say NVIDIA, we'll get that for NVIDIA that comes in here. And then our dashboard will change. We have a different chart now. Now we have NVIDIA's chart. And you can see NVIDIA underperformed the market by 3.71%, but it also outperformed the market by almost 12% the week before that. So, NVIDIA, anytime it pulls back, looks like it's a good time to buy. So that's how you would use these charts. The last chart I'll make is a 30-week moving average chart for a 30-week time period. And then we'll do the sector tab, and then this video will be over. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I pulled over all our data and I've created our chart, because the chart you create is going to be the same as the chart you created in the dashboard. But I just want to show you how to get data labels. You do the same thing in cell X4 here. Just grab from the data tab, grab the ticker, and then you'll also use the query function here with the curly brackets equal curly brackets, and you'll grab everything down to cell 263 from your data tab for the date, the close, and the 30-week moving average of the stock that we're looking at. And then you'll chart this for down from for 30 weeks. The way we get the data labels is we just gonna have to click on this here, and we want to make sure we're on the close price, not the 30-week moving average, because you can get that data labels for both. But actually, it doesn't matter. We're going to get data labels for both. So first, we're going to do the close price and grab our data labels, and you can see those come in green. We don't want those to be green, so we're going to have to change that color. Text color. We want those to be white, I believe. Yep, white. And we want to can we make them bold? We do want to make them bold so you can see them a little better. And when you get a little bit high up here, you can see we don't get any data. You'll have to hover over to see the data, but now you'll be able to see. We'll also make this text a little bigger, the font size. Let's see, we'll make it 14. We'll be able to see it better. And now we'll just go up and we'll change from close to 30 week, and we'll also click on this right here that says data labels, and we'll make those, we got to go down here, size 14 and bold, and we want the text color also to be white. So now you know the numbers are this. We have Google. This is your data labels for Google. For the price, and then your data labels for the 30-week moving average. Up here, you'll just merge cells A1 and A2 together, A1 to B2 together, and then C1 to T2 together. And then you'll just grab from the ticker from the data tab, and then right here in cell A3, put in your current price, and then you're just going to use the Google Finance formula to get the current price. And then we'll just copy this formula here. And then for the name of the company, you'll just use the Google Finance formula, and you'll put in name in quotations, referencing the ticker. That'll give you the name of the company. And then the last thing we're going to do is create a sectors tab, and then we're going to link the tickers to that sectors tab. Okay, so now we're in the sectors tab. So you're just going to have to do everything I have here, set it up the way I have it set up. You won't have any of these numbers in here yet, but you need to put in the sector, the symbol, do all these headers the same, the way I have them here. This you can copy if you want, you don't need to, but you definitely will need these symbols for the sector. And you can see if we scroll down here, I have some extra symbols. And we're just going to use some data validation to grab these symbols. So first thing we're going to need is the sector symbols. So we're just going to click in the cell B1 here, and we're going to go to data. And then we want to go to data validation. And let me just move myself down here to the bottom. We want to hit add a rule. We want this to be dropped down from a range, and we just want to click on this select data range, and we just want to grab all these tickers. And you can just grab it all the way down. So just start pulling it down and then subtract out to where you just have G and hit OK. Now, when you go down here, you want to look at advanced options. You want to make sure this says reject input, and I have it on chip. You can change it to arrow. It'll be different. Right now it's on chip. If we change it to arrow, it'll look like that. So you just have the arrow, but we'll leave it on chip and hit done. And then we'll close out of that. And we're just going to center this, put it in the middle and center it. And now we can select the sector. So if we want to select SPY, we have SPY right here. And if we go back to what we want to do when we do this, instead of our data tab, referencing our data tab, and we have a ticker in here, we actually want to just change this ticker, the sector ticker, to equals, and go to our sectors tab, B1. And now anytime we change our sectors tab, it'll change our data in here. So if we change this to the Qs or anything, let me move myself. The Qs we'll get when we go back to the data tab, the Qs. So we have the data for the Qs. And we're going to do the same thing for the ticker. So we go back to our sectors. And for this, we're just going to go to data, data validation. We're going to add another rule. And we want to drop down from a range We want to click on these four little, this little data range picture here. Click on that. And then you want to go back to your data tab because where we have our symbols. And we want to grab everything from A2 just down to A. Because if you add symbols, then you'll have all of them. So you want this to say A2 to A. And then hit OK. Now that took a second, so I paused the video because of so many tickers. It took a second for it to pull it all in. And then same thing, you'd want to make sure that that was on reject input. You'd hit done, and you should have all your labels in here in a second. You should be able to reference this, and you can see here we just want to change this into the middle, make sure it's in the center, and see if we can change our ticker symbol yet. I'm going to pause the video. It's taking a second because it's so much data. So just give me 1 second, and then I'll come back and I'll oh, we got it. Okay, so I won't pause the video. So we'll just go to Google, and we want our data tab. We want our data tab no longer to just say Google. We want it to equal. So we're going to just put equals there, and we're going to go to our sectors tab, whatever ticker we're referencing here in cell D1, and hit enter. And now if we change this ticker, right now it's Google. If we change this ticker to, let's say, we go down to, so you can pull this down to change your ticker. So we have these in alphabetical order. So you could just pull this down, or you could change it by typing it in. So we'll say we'll go from Google to NVIDIA, MVDA. So if I just type in NVDA, I'll get my dashboard will change to NVIDIA. And now all of our data is linked to NVIDIA instead of Google based on us changing that. When we go back to our data, we have NVIDIA instead of Google, which we do. And we have the Qs instead of the SPY because we changed that. So the last thing that we'll do here is we'll just calculate the 30-week moving average in these cells. So it's just going to be we're going to get the share price, the 30-week moving average, the differential, and then we will get the percentage differential, and then we'll get the rank. The idea behind this is you want to go into the strongest areas of the market. And we can see this week the strongest areas of the market. Number 1 is utilities, number 2 is home builders, and number 3 is real estate. And that makes sense because those are all interest rates sensitive sectors, and we just had an interest rate cut this week by the Fed. So it makes sense that institutions are starting to pile money into these sectors. Let's go ahead and get into how to calculate all this. So I'll just go ahead and do that. So the first thing you're going to need is the share price, and you're just going to use the Google Finance, and you're going to reference this ticker equals Google Finance G3 comma price, and just do that all the way down for every one of these, the S&P 500 and the ETFs that short the S&P 500, the Qs, and the Dow Jones. The next thing we're going to do is just do this formula here to get our 30-week moving average, and then you can just pull it all the way down. So it's equals if air open parentheses average open parentheses query open parentheses sort open parentheses Google Finance open parentheses. We're referencing cell G3 comma, we want all in quotations comma today open parentheses close parentheses minus 730 gives us 2 years of data, which is plenty, comma today open parentheses close parentheses comma open quotations weekly close quotations close parentheses comma 1 comma 0 close parentheses comma. We want to in quotations, we want to select column 5, and we want to limit it to 30 close quotations, and then you need 3 close parentheses marks, and that will give you your 30-week moving average in that cell. So just pause the video if you don't want to listen to me talk it out and read that whole formula, and then just drag that formula down. You don't want to lock anything in because you want it to reference each different cell. And then you're just going to take the share price, and you're going to subtract out the 30-week moving average to get a differential, and you'll drag that down. To get the percentage, all you're going to do is take that differential and divide it by the 30-week moving average. That will give you your percentage. So it's going to be J3 divided by I3, and then just drag this all the way down. I did some conditional formatting. You can do that on your own. I only drag it down to here, actually, not all the way down. This because we're comparing these to these, and then we're comparing these to these. So you can do the same thing here And then we're also comparing these to these to get our differentials. Our rank is also only going to be for each thing you see in the box here. So you have to do them all separate. So the rank is simply going to be equals rank. We're going to rank K3, which is going to be our percentage. And then we want to lock in K3 to K15. So it's comma K3 to K15. So that's going to be F4. And then for K15, put in F4 to lock it in, and then drag it down. And that will give you your rank for each one of these sectors. And that will tell you which sector is the strongest. And every week you can reference this to see what sectors institutions are going into. And then once you know what sectors are going into, you can start looking for stocks in those sectors that are strong, have strength, and are above their 30-week moving average. And that would be the best place to invest your money based on the criteria of the book that I just showed you. That's all I have for this video. I hope it helped you. I hope it helps your investing journey. If it did, consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And thank you for watching.